Good evening, everybody. This is Jeremy Dysock, Credilife Credit Coach, with Rick Winter, Credilife Credit Coach. We are here for our Wednesday night.
Hump day.
CrediTV, Facebook Live in the free credit repair advice group, sponsored by Credilife. And tonight we're actually going to be debunking some more credit myths.
There are plenty of them out there.
Lots of credit myths. Yeah, lots of misconceptions, lots of different things that people think is really the right way to approach your credit restoration, credit repair, financial wellness. We're going to take on some of these tonight. We're also going to be answering your questions live as you enter them into the chat section. I'd like to welcome our moderators for the evening who will be hosting from the chat side of things. Just a couple of quick reminders. If you have not yet subscribed to CrediTV, that's CrediTV on YouTube, that is our channel where you will find eventually this live video, the recording of that, as well as previous Facebook Lives that CrediTV put on. You'll also find educational videos. You'll find classes that we have done for the Minneapolis public school system.
Seminars, absolutely.
Seminars, absolutely. Just a wealth of information on CrediTV. That's CrediTV. I even have a cat video on there.
Cat video on there.
Cat video on there.
But lots of great stuff. I think it was, what was it, about 6 months ago you guys were at, was it, I forget what junior college it was at, but some great budgeting videos on there.
Yep, the budget
put some time on some budgeting videos. Follow it, because more than likely you're going to see just as much content being added on in the next several months as is already available.
Yeah, I'm actually back a little bit. I've got 3, I think, or this might be the 4th live that I'm going to be updating. So there's going to be lots of material to watch, lots of good education, free credit education. So again, follow us on YouTube on CrediTV, CrediTV. And if you like what you see on the videos, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you don't like it,
leave a comment.
Don't ever watch them again, right?
Yeah, leave a comment and then don't
leave a comment. Go hide in a cave. So also, I'd like to remind everybody we still have our Haiti mission going on. We're looking at possible expansion on that. We are going to have our own missionary on the ground in Haiti, and she is going to be bringing food. She's going to be helping provide water. We have teamed up with Feed My Starving Children to provide meals. We've already raised enough money for over 2,000 breakfast, lunch, dinners for starving children. It's a huge, huge opportunity. I tell you, if you've got some tax refunds now, and you're looking for a write-off for next year, that's an opportunity right there. But we're still doing that. We're collecting. So the GoFundMe link, hopefully one of our moderators will put up.
Well, I think it's a great way for, a lot of times when we're working in financial wellness and we're helping others, I'll tell you right now, it makes us feel good to help you, and I'm sure it would make you all feel good to help someone who's certainly not thinking about their credit and certainly not planning their financial future when they're worried about basic things like food, water, and medical. So help us out any way you can. Jeremy alluded to it. I have 2 twins that just started in college this year. They want to follow Jeremy's daughter's footsteps and do some outreach as well. So we're exploring ways where we can get those 2 involved as well.
Yep. So when we're talking about changing lives with Credilife, when we're talking about changing lives in the free credit repair advice group, we're trying to expand that so we're actually going past just the credit. There's a reason we call it financial wellness. This is a whole body, a whole life type of thing. And wellness includes the community. Wellness includes the rest of the world and all of that good stuff too. So
I couldn't imagine worrying about, we all get involved with stress and financial stress all the time, but I couldn't imagine being stressed out about some of those basic things. So again, any of the missions that we're involved with, Feed My Children, for those of you who aren't aware of it, we fund and we help raise funds for someone to go to, and there's areas and locations all over the country to go in and actually create the foodstuffs, to pack the boxes, pack the bags, get the meals and the stuff all in place to be shipped out.
We've done it. We were listening to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's right. We did it. Put our little hats on.
Heck yeah.
Mesh hats on.
That's how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air, actually. I think that happened at Feed My Starving Children.
That could have been, absolutely.
Or not.
Wasn't there a wrapper from? Was he?
Then we put all wrappers on all the food, and then we put them in the boxes. All right, so tonight we're so give to the Haiti mission.
Give to the Haiti mission.
And you know, we're talking tonight about credit myths, credit misinformation, credit myths, different things you hear from family and friends, bankers and realtors and mortgage lenders, car dealers, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman,
the internet,
Dr. Knickerbocker. That's
everywhere. I said in one of our shows,
other groups on
one
Facebook.
of our shows that when we did this last installment of, you know, Credit Mythbusters, Jeremy and I spend most of our professional day debunking myths that people, our clients, members of the free credit repair advice group, assumptions that they already have. You know,
it'd be better if people didn't know anything.
Yeah, you sometimes feel that way if they just started from scratch without any preconceived notion of what credit meant, how the credit bureaus work, you know, all these different laws, the psychology of it. If they would just start from scratch, I think a lot of people would be better off. So that's what our mission is today, is to break down those myths, set you on the right track, find you better sources for information. And it's not just about bunking myths. There might be a few that are plausible. There might be a few that we can confirm. So we want to start with, Jeremy put together a list of myths that we'll put in our second installment.
Is my writing
I have never tried to read your writing, but
it's really best that you don't. It's, well, that and some of the things I write. For those of you who think you could send just some random thing to, you know, if you think it makes a difference, handwriting letters to the bureau. Actually, let's start there.
Yeah, that's a good myth.
How many of you have heard from friends from other groups on Facebook, hey, when you're writing letters to the credit bureaus, you want to handwrite the letters, and you want to use blue ink and colored paper and maybe highlight them or use crayons, or my all-time favorite is you want to write in blood on the top of a used pizza box.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think that they're tricking the bureaus, and therefore if you throw the bureaus off track, that you're somehow gonna like find some mysterious loophole or some kind of magical formula that they won't be able to follow.
The mindset behind this is when you send your letters to the credit bureaus, when we send them professionally, when you yourself send them, they're scanned in through a system called eOscar, and this is it's like a language recognition system. It's basically it's typed to data, and that reads your letters. They're not being read by an individual. So there's this thought process, this false thought process out there that if you handwrite these things, it'll get kicked out of eOscar. If you use colors, it won't be read. It'll get kicked out of eOscar, and then someone will manually have to look at these letters and review them, and that'll add more time, and you got a better chance of getting things deleted. That's a myth. The eOscar system is capable of reading the entire, it's Technicolor. It can read all color inks. It can read all color papers. It can read handwriting. If you bank, where you can do online banking, where you take a picture of your check and now it's in your account, these computers have gotten sophisticated enough to read even handwriting as bad as mine. And be able to convert it. So, the best thing I can tell you when it comes to writing letters to the bureau, it's not how you say it, it's what you say.
It's a very technical letter. So the font size, the color of the paper, none of that matters. It's what you're saying to get a specific legal result that they need to follow. So to paraphrase the myth here, I'll frame it this way. I'm better off handwriting letters to the credit bureaus. And we would say that
we'd have to say that one's busted. That's definitely busted.
Busted.
All right, so we've got another one that was put up in the group. Tiffany Thompson put, and I love it. I love this one. The myth is this. We are. Oh, look, see, you can see us over there. I got confused for a minute. I thought I went back in time. Tiffany Thompson says, there's a question, once you pay on a debt, once you pay on a negative, a collection on your credit report, it goes away. It's gone. What do you have to say to that?
It's gone off your credit report.
It's gone completely. Is it?
No.
No. Unfortunately, it's not.
No, it is not. So, and again, just to repeat, can you repeat that question, because that's a critical one, especially as we go into tax season, and a lot of people are considering taking their tax return and deciding, well, do I pay this first?
Right.
Do I investigate it first? What do I do to get the best credit result?
I'm finishing my shake.
Good for you. I'm so proud. You've done great. Jeremy is usually about a 3 or 4 can of Coca-Cola a day kind of guy, and over the last
10, 11.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
Coca-Colas a day, and he is actually, I have not seen him with a Coca-Cola in his hand in at least 3 weeks, so that is awesome.
And sometimes people wonder why I'm so mean in the group.
Lack of caffeine.
That's exactly what it is.
He's having caffeine headaches.
I am.
So the question becomes, when something gets deleted from your credit report, does it go away? And we'll say that myth is...
That one is a big-time bust, yeah. What's going to happen if you pay... There we go. If you pay on a collection on a negative item, it'll get updated. It'll say, paid as agreed, settled for a less than full amount, paid in full. Doesn't matter what the language is. That language, it could say paid for less than agreed, or it could say this person's a deadbeat and only give us $1 and we took it. Or it could say, wow, they're so awesome because finally they paid in full. It'll have no influence. But what it does is it does update the date of last activity on that account. So not only does the item not go away when you pay it, your credit score will actually take a tumble because you've given new activity to an already negative account.
Yeah, and it is sort of counterintuitive, because when you think about it, you're thinking, a lot of consumers think that debt is the opposite of credit.
Right.
Not true.
Not true. Perfect. So yeah, that one is definitely busted. All right, here, let me just make sure I'm getting through people. So Tiffany, thank you so much. One of our admins, Tiffany, put the link for the mission trip and the mission work we're working on. Asia says hello. Brittany says, oh, I got one. I like this one. I've heard that student loans can't be deleted. Federal student loans cannot be deleted from your credit report. What say you?
Yeah, that's busted. They can be. There's a couple things that, qualify that. Mm-hmm. One of them is, what's the current status of the account? Okay, status being, is it opened? Is it closed? How long has it been closed? But absolutely, you can get federally guaranteed student loan accounts removed from your credit report.
Mm-hmm. We do it every day.
Every day. Every day.
So yeah, so that one, we're going through a lot of busts right here. That one is a definite busted. Student loans, basically, I like to say it like this. Every single item on your credit report is at the mercy of having to verify, to validate, and to document. And they fail to be able to do that within the prescribed time frame.
Yep.
By law, they're deleted. It could be a bankruptcy.
Yep.
It could be a student loan, a federal student loan. It could be a private student loan. It could be child support. It could be a repossession on a vehicle, a foreclosure on a mortgage. Doesn't matter what it is. They've all got the same rules.
Ex-wife's address.
Could be your ex-wife's address. You want to get her removed from the planet.
Doesn't mean she's gone, though. Just means it's...
If you pay me enough, she'll be gone.
That was an easy one. So, federally guaranteed student loans. A couple things.
I'll delete her for you.
One of those things that's happened to it is, this is why monitoring your credit just with Credit Karma is not enough.
Right.
You need to look at the specific details. When Jeremy's talking about date of last activity, when we're talking about the current status of the account, that's all specific information in the credit report, and you have to be reviewing it. If you're not going to have us do it as professionals, look at those specific details. Mm-hmm. Open up Smart Credit and understand that, and Jeremy says this all the time, your credit score is a derivative of the information that's already in your credit report.
Right.
You have to look at the source of the information in your credit report. I
always say, if I want to get 4, I'm going to go looking for some 2s to add together to get there, or maybe a 1 and a 3 or 4 1s. But, I'm not going to go looking for the 4. I'm not going to go looking for the answer. I'm going to go looking for the things that add up to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your score is simply a derivative. So here's a fun one. This was brought to us by Jared Havens.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Does your income affect your credit score? Who here thinks it does? All right. Who here thinks it doesn't? Okay.
You got 1 thumbs up on the dozen.
I did. I don't know. They might have just been telling me where to put it. That's entirely possible. I have been bitchy lately. So, all right. So, does your income impact your credit score?
No.
Why?
It's not reported on your credit report. There's no factor in your FICO credit score that is a function of income.
All right. So that's a flat up, easy, busted. That sucker is busted. Your income in no way, shape, or form impacts your credit score other than the fact that you can either pay your stuff or you can't.
That's right. Can I get a little further into where some of these myths generate?
Yeah, for sure. I'd rather
so, having done this
substance.
So as long as Jeremy and I have been doing this, we've started to track down where a lot of these myths come from. And a
guy named Steve.
Steve came up with
frickin'
this.
Steve.
Blame it on Steve. So Steve, here's the term balance to limit ratio.
Yep.
All right, that's a thing. And then he also hears a term, something called debt to income ratio. And
DTI.
DTI. And he hears ratio and he thinks, well, that's got to be something important. And then the two converge. And next thing you know, people are confusing balance to limit ratios with debt to income ratios. And although they're both important, they're two totally different things.
So that one is definitely busted.
Busted.
All right. Here's one you may have seen lately. Has anyone seen that infographic that people like to put up that says, don't pay them a dime? You don't owe. A collection that got charged off and then sold to the collection company. You don't owe them anyway. There's a very popular one being put up by, and the person's name was Debt Slayer 420, which is something I always look for in a credit professional. I want a stoner.
Yes.
But it's, you don't owe them a dime. They've charged it off. The original creditors charged it off. They've charged off their taxes. If they've written it off, you don't owe anything. This third-party collection agency, they don't have standing. It's illegal for them to collect. They don't. If you've heard any of these things, what do you have to say about that?
It's so off the wall. I can't. Sometimes we get these myths, and I think people, their heart's in the right place. They want it to be true, but that's not true. Just because something was written off or charged off has nothing to do with whether you owe it or not.
Even if it was Debt Slayer 420, who told
even
us
if it was Debt Slayer 420, dude, where's your car? I don't know.
Dude,
are we talking about the same things here? There is something called a charge off. There is something called a write off.
Right.
That has a negative impact as far as coded on your credit report.
Right.
But it doesn't have anything to do with whether you're still.
So just because the debtor writes that debt off, charges that debt off, or whatever it says on that credit report, it doesn't mean you don't owe it.
It does not mean that at all. That is, I got this one.
That
one's busted.
Who? I mean, the 420's
Debt
busted,
Slayer
man.
420.
No, Debt Slayer, no, man.
So we'll bust that one.
Dave's not here. All right, so that's a good one. We've seen that a lot lately.
There's no end to these, is there?
No, man, I can do this week. Like, we're going to have a third one. This is not. Oh, here's one I always have fun with. All right. Here's a myth. Well, if I send off a 609 letter validation to the credit bureaus or to the collection agencies or to the original creditors, they have to provide me with a wet ink signature showing that I owe the debt.
Meaning wet ink, meaning they have to show me the original contract where there might have been.
They have to give it to me.
So the ink couldn't have dried. It still has to be.
It could be form. 7 years old. That ink has wet ink.
Wet ink. I mean, and be honest for those of you who are listening and any of those who may be listening.
Wet ink.
I get the idea. I get, again, the convenience of wanting to believe that may be a thing, wet ink. I think every contract I've probably signed in the last 4 years, I don't even think it was with an ink pen.
No, digital.
When's the last time you signed a contract that was actually with a pen?
With my name on it?
Yeah, with your name on it.
That's been a long time.
But I mean, we live in an electronic age where you can. I mean, we saw our service agreements. Most of you that have ever become clients signed a contract with us to deliver services and in return a signature.
But digitally, with an IP address imprint and things like that, those are considered good signatures. Here's the thing. If you have to provide as a defendant, if you've got to provide the original contract to a court, you're not required wet ink signature. What that essentially is saying, hey, Give me the original contract, the only actual proof that I owe you this money. Why don't you go ahead and give me that one piece of proof that you own and just send it to me? I'm sure I won't keep it.
Yeah, it's busted. There is nothing, and certainly there's nothing in writing anywhere.
Wet ink. Busted.
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 Busted. I like that one.
Wet,
I can't believe we didn't cover that in the last one.
Wet ink.
We hear that a lot. Wet ink.
Wet ink. What about certified mail?
I'm going to come up with a name with that. I'm going to call it Wet Ink. Wet Ink is us. Or Wet Ink.
That's a terrible name. Don't ever do that again.
I'm not good at coming.
That was the worst thing I've ever heard.
Wet
that was
ink.
Terrible. That was like saying there's no Christmas.
Wet ink. Wet ink
Wet
signatures.
Ink. Wet ink. I've been to Wedding Day Jewelers.
Maybe we could sell attorneys pen ink that never dries, so it's always wet.
Dude, there's a lot of crap I'd like to sell attorneys. All right. So we've covered the ink color, but tell me about certified mail. What do you think about certified mail? I've heard that you always want to send your letters certified mail with the return signature on it so you can prove that the bureaus got the letters and when they got them so that you can force them to be within that 30-day time frame. What do you say? What do you say something like that? What about certified mail?
Well, I guess if you want to invest the extra money in addition to the postage, do it. But there's nothing that makes a certified letter more or less effective. In fact, it's probably less effective because now someone's got to sign for it. It's preposterous.
Well, I'll tell you, you hear in all these groups, well, that's the only way to get proof. You want to send it certified. If any of you have ever looked at the addresses for TransUnion, for Equifax, and Experian, you're going to notice something. They are post office boxes. Post office boxes are little metal boxes, or in this case, very large metal boxes at the post office or a post office drop. Unless somebody lives in the box, who's signing for this?
What movie was that had the people living in the Foot Locker at the airport?
That was Men in Black 2.
Men in Black 2. So there could be aliens in there that are
could be. There was also one with Emmanuel Lewis. No, that was Gary Coleman, where he lived at a train station in Locker. Man, that was a really obscure reference.
Yeah,
that's even bizarre for me.
We'll bust this one up right now.
Yeah, that's busted, guys. You don't need to use certified. In the last ever that Rick and I have been doing this since back when we used to work with the apostles on their credit. In the time we've been doing this, we have sent exactly about this many certified letters professionally. If you do want to maybe think about sending the certified letters, I'm going to encourage you just to use a stamp and use the rest of the money for kids in Haiti. All right. What about this one? Removing all of your personal information, old names and addresses and employers and stuff. If you remove that stuff, it'll allow your disputes. They'll be easier. It'll be easier to get rid of things. What do you say about something like that?
I haven't given it a lot of thought. I know that there's a lot of people that propose it.
Right.
We don't use it in our practice. It's something that's fairly simple to resolve directly with the bureaus. Again, if my ex-wife's address is on my credit report, I could call the bureaus and just ask them to remove it. It's not my current address.
Right. There is some element of truth to this. Okay. Sometimes that old address, sometimes that name variation, it could be your parent if you're a junior, senior. Sometimes these things are the thread that are keeping old negatives connected to your report. It might be the only thing they've got literally to tie it to, because if something got mixed up with mom or dad, you don't have the right social security number, so these are the only threads. So by getting rid of these things, it may make your disputing or your investigation process easier. But it also may be the only thread
keeping a positive
past item on your there's my train of thought had a caboose that time. So it might be the only thing that's positive or holding that positive item on your credit report. So you could theoretically end up doing as much damage as you could help. So can it help you dispute and get rid of things? Yes, it can. So
we have a sign for this.
We do have a sign for this one. We're going to go with plausible. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that you should. If you've got a situation where you have only negative items, not a single positive on your credit, and I see them every day. I saw one this afternoon. Something like that, I'd say, yeah, let's wipe out the old addresses. Let's do this slightly more aggressive, slightly less traditional, slightly more obscure method. Because no matter what, the only things you have are bad. So if I can sever the ties between you and some of that bad, that's a positive approach. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it could make it easier. Now, if you've got a mix of good and bad, I don't know. You know, it's like playing Jenga. You don't know which one you take out, and the whole Jenga is going to fall over, and you get a touchdown.
I've seen that.
I've never played Jenga.
You've never played Jenga?
I've never played Jenga. I don't understand what the point is. Did I get it pretty much right? You take crap out and put crap on something else, and then it falls over, and you get pissed at your wife?
Yeah, well, you should try it.
Now, I'm pissed at her just fine without it.
Well, maybe it'll give you something to do, you know, some bonding, some time, quality time.
Yeah, I don't know. She puts me on the couch when we do that, when she gets mad. All right, here's one. You can get your actual FICO score. I don't even have to finish it.
No, I'm going to let you go with this because I tell you what, of any one thing, and this happens because he's a FICO certified credit advisor.
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
It is. To him, it is annoying because you wouldn't need to work with a FICO certified credit coach if everybody knew how FICO calculated the credit score and how the credit bureaus work.
Right.
It's just
it's
knowledge FICO doesn't want you to have.
You can get your real FICO score from myfico.com or from your Discover app or from one of these other ones. Says it's FICO 8.0. It's my FICO score. So it's my lending score, right?
You can't get your FICO credit score from anything you're ever going to see unless you're a loan officer looking at a credit report with the FICO scores on it. Think about this. Just think about it in terms of the amount of volume of information that's going through the credit issuance system. You have what, roughly 290, 300,000 maybe consumers that at any one point in time could have their FICO score calculated by a lender. Okay, you add on top of that the fact that FICO charges a lender roughly $29.95 to have the score calculated. Do you think they're going to give that information away to us for free? The calculation and the amount of information that goes into that, busted. That is totally busted. And if you want to argue with someone about it, text Jeremy and he can talk to you about it further. Busted.
It's usually a pretty short conversation because I get mad. All right, that's a good one. So we've covered utilization. We've covered that pretty heavily in the last one. We've covered where to get decent FICO scores. The answer is nowhere. We've covered certified mail and removing personal information. So I heard that if you dispute online on like Credit Karma, or if you use one of those online things, if you dispute online, A, it's faster, but B, it's better because it goes right to them.
Well, this gets to the notion that people think that credit bureaus that they're somehow a client of the credit bureaus. All right. TransUnion and Experian and Equifax, and I've drawn this analogy from one of my old colleagues, Brian Kurzweil, they're no different than Chevy, Toyota, and Chrysler. They are name brand data repositories of huge volumes of information.
Suppositories?
No, depositories.
Oh, never mind.
Depositories of information. So they're absorbing all this information. You're not their client, okay? I see Manny on here. So Manny, your name might be on your credit report, but you're not TransUnion's client. You will never get a call from TransUnion and say, how can I better serve you today? All right, their clients are the credit issuers, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, on it goes through the list. So getting back to the point of there being some sort of a notion that they're going to create an online system for you to catch them in a situation where they're not following regulations is preposterous.
So that one is
busted.
That's busted. Busted.
Well, we're going to do a quick commercial break.
Mark,
okay?
Mark saw the...
So we're advertising today for this guy here.
Mark saw my picture.
Mark, thanks, Mark. I'm glad someone pointed it out. I don't have a picture of myself in my office. Jeremy does, though. And
well, why? I've got a picture of the most attractive coach in the building.
Yes, you do, Jeremy. You absolutely do. So that is awesome. No, that's a great picture. Put it in somebody else's office.
I have it on a mug, too.
Or get a mirror.
Well, at first we put mine and yours in Chaz's. It was like North Korea.
I
was most glorious leader of credit group.
It's pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff.
You can't coach at the stuff.
All right, so we should pick one off the group.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some fun stuff to talk about. We've got some questions.
You know what? Our moderators were putting in our own chat some good stuff. I think Jared put one in there.
I know they're all over the dang place. Hold on. Let's see.
Nope, not in the band one.
Here, hold on. Payout collections is a good thing to do. Goodwill. Oh, I like goodwill letters.
I like goodwill letters.
Hey, who's heard about goodwill letters? Goodwill letters. Those are the letters you send to the CEO of the company going, hey, remember that one time I totally screwed you over because I didn't pay my bill? Would you please delete the record of that? Because now I'm awesome.
It's such I work with about 500 to 600 clients a year. About 3 or 4 of them a year will have a case even close to warranting a goodwill letter. And it's usually when you have maybe 30 or 40 on-time payments and 1 late payment about 6 months ago. That is the only time, the only place a goodwill letter is ever going to have a fighting snowball's chance in to get through. As Jeremy said, banks make money based upon assigning an interest rate when a payment is due. You are not going to have any goodwill when they just lost the ability to charge you that interest rate on that payment. Right. So,
yep. So that one, goodwill.
Ronnie, this one's for you. Thanks for teeing that one off for us.
All right. Yeah, that is not the best approach. Now, I'm going to throw something out there on goodwill. Mm-hmm. Does it hurt to try? Does it hurt to try? Does it hurt to send a letter saying, hey, I was going through a bad medical time. I had 1 30-day late. I've been with you for 6 years. That's a year ago now. I'm trying to get into a house. This is the one thing keeping me back. Would you please see it in your heart? And we know in this business that sometimes it works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So does it hurt to try? So would we give that a plausible maybe?
Yeah, we can do it. We can go to a plausible. I think
it's not going to be your.
I think it's the probability part.
Right. It's not. That's where you're getting the sticky part. It's not the approach to take, but plausible.
It's plausible.
Right. I would look at it as something that's complementary to what you're doing for your investigations.
Good point.
There we go on that one. All right.
That other group had one on there from Jared that was based upon getting to the minimum score to qualify.
Well, I can tell you what that one was. When it comes to getting to a house, I've heard you can get in at like a 620 on some FHAs, 580. Is it best to just try to, you want to work on your credit repair and stuff like that, but shouldn't you get it until you can get in that house, nab up that house, and then you're good to go? That was a question.
No, you want to get that score as high as possible. Your credit score, your credit profile, and we talk too much about score because when it comes to purchasing a house, there's something called your credit profile as well, which is information that's not included in your score that is affecting your profile. You want to get that score. You want to strengthen that credit profile as much as possible in every way possible for one simple reason. 15 years or 30 years is a long time to even be paying a fraction of a percentage point more than you should have to. I'm not going to do the math in my head, but if you think about a $200,000 loan, if you think about a 1/4 of a point difference over 30 years, you're literally taking tens of thousands of your own dollars over that period of time and just giving it to the bank.
So basically, minimum score requirements are not all that matter when applying for the loan.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're going to bust that myth.
Busted.
Thanks, Jared, for teeing one off.
Yep.
Jared's had that question a lot of times.
Here's a favorite of mine. I hear some rather famous people talking about. I pay everything with cash. I'm cash and carry. I pay everything with cash. I don't use credit, so my credit score is a 0. What do you think?
I've had a lot of clients come to me with
Zero.
a 0 credit score, and pay me to help them improve their credit.
But my score is actually 0.
Baloney.
But it is. I'm
FICO as a
Rave Damsey is my name.
Yeah. Well, you know, for the 1% or maybe even the 1/4% that want to live off the grid and not have credit, all the power to you. But eventually, you are going to need to do business with an insurance company, a landlord, a finance company. You might even have a job that requires you to handle money or to be responsible. They are going to want to see a risk assessment that shows you are trustworthy. It's nonsense.
But how am I not trustworthy to borrow money? I paid cash for my house. I paid cash for my car.
Insurance. You legally in Minnesota, you have to have insurance on a vehicle. You have to have insurance on a vehicle.
I better call my guy.
You better call your guy. And your insurance guy, by the way, your car insurance guy, and this is something I learned a lot from Jared, who's our CEO and founder of the Credilife program. You know, and maybe it's because he's a little bit younger and has paid more in auto insurance than a lot of us have. Have
you seen him drive?
Yes, I have. He's a pretty good driver.
Definitely an excellent driver.
Your credit assessment is also used as a risk assessment to do business with you financially.
Right.
Actuarial scientists have proven on paper anyway that you're more likely to put in a false claim or a higher claim for auto insurance based on your credit score. Therefore, auto insurers, and in some cases you're going to start to see in other insurers, are going to dictate their premiums based on your credit score.
So if I bounce a check when I'm 20, I'll wrap my car around a tree when I'm 40 if I don't reestablish credit.
Well, it's the perception of risk. None of this is actually necessarily truthful, but it's
So it's based on averages.
Averages, numbers over huge volumes of people.
Well, that makes sense. So that one, I guess. Oh, by the way, for the record, what is the credit score range that you can have for FICO? The floor is 300, the ceiling is 850, and the floor is 300. You can't have a score of 0. There's no 0. Bless his heart.
Busted.
Busted.
Again.
Busted.
And again. And again. Busted.
How about this one? When you get married, your spouse's really terrible credit because they were a terrible person and it's likely I dated them. Or they did. But before you got... I wouldn't go so far as to say date. But your spouse, you guys get married, and your spouse's bad credit becomes your problem. Your credit file gets merged together. What about that? You ever hear that?
Oh, I've heard it. I've actually sat in a room.
Is it true?
No, it's not true. Nothing is getting merged on your credit report. It is your individual credit report. Now, you might have a joint account with your beloved or your or your significant other, but there's nothing that merges the file together. You can pull a report that has both of your information on it, but there's nothing in the account issuance by itself that merges that credit data. By the way, there's also nothing on the opposite end on a divorce that pulls it apart either.
That makes sense. So that one is, there's no merging of the files?
No merging of files.
No merging of files. That one's busted.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Wow. That escalated quickly.
Nice.
The Tourette's is strong with this one. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what else we got going on. We got some stuff from some of our coaches are piping in with some things. We got some members. How about this one? If I get new good credit, will that take care of and override negative things from the past? I heard that I can kind of, basically bury the old stuff.
Make amends.
Yeah, that's right. I want to make some amends.
Make some amends.
Is that a thing? That was a cool.
Well, it's certainly better than doing nothing. I mean, certainly there's a merit to getting on the right track and building credit. But can I steal your analogy? The boat anchor piece?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. All
right, so think of it.
We had a group who stole my letters. Why stop there?
I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. So
everybody look at
So the idea is your credit is like a boat, and Chaz does a good job of setting this up too.
Alexa, play I'm on a boat.
Your boat is maybe drifting across the water at a slow pace, and you decide you're going to put the throttle to it, and you're going to start using credit responsibly, okay? It starts to pick up speed.
Okay, we're not going to play that one. I just forgot all the words.
Yeah, that's You get the idea.
That's why that guy was mad.
The idea is that negative information on your credit report is going to act as an anchor. And you're essentially going to have that boat in full throttle, and your boat's going to be sitting there chugging along because it still has an anchor anchored to your past. So, yes, it's good.
So the new stuff's the motor, that's going to move you forward.
Yep.
The old stuff's the anchor.
Yep.
So you want to address the anchor.
Yep.
And have the motor rolling.
There you go. We're going to get you a boat.
I want a boat.
You need a boat. We need to get Jeremy in a boat so he can relax on the water. Has the anchor up.
It should have missiles.
Full throttle, sharks with laser beams.
Missiles.
Down the Mississippi. No, we're going to bust that one.
Yeah, okay, that one's busted.
All right. Actually, you know what? Can I change it?
You do whatever you want.
I'm going to say plausible only because I don't want people to get discouraged and focus on either the throttle or the anchor. So we're going to go with plausible.
So, yeah, so it's not that it's only the only thing you're going to want to do, but it's definitely a part of it. All right, let's see what else we got going on. We got this one. Boom. But this one, let me get back to, I want to get to some member questions and see if we can tie these into some myths that we've run into. All right. Oh, here's one. All right, so I heard the best way to get rid of something, or one of the really good ways to get rid of something, is you want to send a pay-for-delete letter to the collection company. You want to send them a pay-for-delete letter. Say, if I pay you, and you're gonna agree to delete this, and I'm gonna send. I got a pay-for-delete letter. I found it in a group on Facebook that wasn't called Free Credit Repair Advice, so it was wrong. And I got this pay-for-delete letter, and I'm gonna send it to you, and that's gonna work, right?
I've even heard people go. I'll even up the ante on the level of foolishness sometimes what people's thinking that. I've actually had people tell me that they sent the pay for deletion letter along with a check. I'll say that again. I've had people tell me they sent a pay for deletion letter along with a check and assumed that if they cashed the check, they were going to delete it from the credit report.
There's also another, I'm going to say flat out, this is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're going to want to do this negotiation over the telephone. Pure and simple. You're going to want to call up the collection company, do the end of the, like you'd buy a car, end of the month, try to get the desperate sales guy type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get the desperate collector. And you're going to offer them kind of an oddball sum of money, because if you do an exact percentage, they're going to grab a calculator, figure it out, and go, okay, this guy's got more money or this gal's got more money because they're doing a percentage. So instead of offering 35%, you're going to offer them $271.19. And they go, well, why that much money? Because they're calculating it as an oddball figure. And you say, well, because that's what I have in my account. I can give it to you or somebody else. And but if I pay this to you, will you delete this? Here's the deal. If they delete this thing off your credit report, they're violating their contract with their credit reporting company. This is not something you're going to get in writing going to or coming from the collection agency, okay? If they do agree to do this, it's going to happen on the phone.
Yep.
The negotiation will happen on the phone. You're going to pay over the phone with a auto draft from a check or from your debit card. And it's going to happen all at once. You're going to have to do it in one lump sum payment. They're never going to, but they will honor the fact that they said they're going to delete. That's, when they tell you you're on their recorded line, so are they.
Yeah, it's not something to jump into with trepidation, because they're going to want the funds immediately.
Yep.
To be funded immediately. And they're not going to put it in writing because they're not going to want a paper trail that shows they were willing to do something that broke the service agreement they have with the credit bureaus.
Right. So that one definitely busted. Definitely busted. All right. I'm going to go in and we're going to go straight to some questions really quick here, because I want to make sure that everybody who took the time to watch, you guys are getting your questions answered. All right. So I'm going to go. We got student loans. We've got Haiti. If you haven't given to Haiti yet, support the mission. If my credit accounts are closed but have a balance, what should I do? Asia is asking this question. So I've got a credit account. It's closed, but it's got a balance. What's a good thing to do with something like that?
Verify it.
So you're going to want to send letters to the credit bureaus. You'll find them in the credit repair group. If you're on a computer, you'll find it in the files section up here. And if you're on a tablet or a mobile phone, you'll find it at the top of the page here, and you have to scroll over until you get to the files section. But there is a sample investigation dispute template letter. That's what you're going to want to send and investigate the information that's reporting with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. That's how you're going to want to handle that, Asia. All right, Erica Lachey says, okay, what do you do if the collection company doesn't want to do a settlement? We're going to start out again. Look, we're going to start out again with, you're going to want to, literally, it's like the same answer as the question right before it. You're going to want to send an investigation letter. Yeah. Verify this with the bureaus, okay? Because if they don't want to do a settlement, we got to work on trying to get this off the credit. When it's not on the credit report, if it comes back unverified and gets deleted permanently from the credit report, you've taken away the stranglehold and the ability to hold your credit hostage that these folks have had. It takes a lot of the skin out of the game, and it puts you in a better negotiation position because it leaves them literally only one thing to do, and that's sue you, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. I will say one other thing to that, too, and this was why I gave Jeremy the look, is your question was, they don't want to accept a settlement. I'll tell you right now, there isn't a collection agency in the world worth its weight in salt that if you ask them, do you want to accept a settlement? There isn't a single one that's going to say, yeah, we want to accept a settlement. So part of that is the negotiation process after you've verified and validated the debt.
Awesome question. Karina Klein Thrasher says, I've got a number of different student loans. They're all good, 0 past due, but somehow there's one of them that's way past due. Can I have just that one validated? Yeah, you're going to want to start off, definitely send a letter to the bureaus, and you're just going to list that account number. You're just going to list that account. You're just going to investigate the information on that one student loan. You'll leave everything else alone. They're not going to mess with it if you don't ask about it, and they're not going to investigate if you don't ask to investigate. So you want to go and just literally use, again, the verification letter and request on that one student loan.
Giamona, I'm watching you.
All right, what else we got?
He's watching me.
That's creepy. Mark saw my picture.
I'm going to put another picture of myself on his desk.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
With the eyeballs cut out.
Jeremy needs a catchphrase. Crystal, I missed what it was. God knows what is my catchphrase. Is probably the, well, it's a step in the process. It's not the first step.
That's a good one.
I do say that a lot.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Play the ball where it lies.
800-pound
Be
gorilla.
the ball, Danny.
Absolutely. We've got that new credit monitoring service out there. That's great. I am for sale. Renata, I'm always for sale. Is that actual monster in the can? Yes, it is. It's the pineapple-y kind of thing Dan says, preach on, brother. Crystal says, but I'm an authorized user on my cousin's credit card. That'll get me house ready, right? Oh, that was a perfect tee up. Yeah. Who's heard that piggybacking or being an authorized user or getting added to your uncle, your cousin, or somebody else's credit card, that's going to add their history. It's going to raise your score. It's going to get you qualified for a home. You may have actually been told this by a mortgage loan officer. What say you?
No, and I'm not going to sit here and say that you can't have your husband or wife as an authorized user, but there's a better way to do it. And I'll start with this. Most of my clients are wanting to be pre-approved for a home loan. Most FHA, correct me if I'm wrong, Fannie and Freddie are going to back those authorized user accounts off of the underwriting practice, and you're not going to get credit for it.
It's actually a requirement right now for Fannie, Freddie. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, those are your conventional loans. FHA loans, VA loans. The underwriters are required to specifically disallow authorized user accounts. So they have to take them completely out of consideration. So you've blown the history you added, you've blown the length of credit you added, you've blown the minimum trade line or account requirement. On top of it, the two latest incarnations of the FICO algorithm do not give them the weight that they used to have. So you literally have things like loan officers telling you to add these authorized user accounts, and the underwriters that these loan officers are submitting to are required to disallow them. The moral of the story is the underwriters are not, the loan officers are not with the program. So the myth, we're going to call it a myth, that being an authorized user is a good thing. It'll get you into a house. That one, without a question, busted. Awesome, awesome question. I love that one. All right, what else we got going? Thank you, Crystal. Mark says Dave Ramsey's a Fruit Loop. Credit Chaz says Dave Ramsey says his credit score is 0. Yeah, take that for what is it? Dan, are we doing a Q&A tomorrow or what? Sounds like the new kids on the block are going to do a Q&A. Credit Chaz, new, as I like to call him, New Chaz. And then we got Chaz Eartham, who's Chaz Classic. So it's like New Coke and Coke Classic. Whatever happened to New Coke?
I don't know.
Poor Chaz. All right. Jeremy dated? Yeah, not exactly dated. Tisha says, hey, Jeremy and Rick. Hey there, Tisha. Jasmine Berry says, what happens if you go over 30% on a credit card? If you pay it down to 0, will you get your points back? Ooh, there's a couple pieces in there.
Oh, that is a good one.
This is a good one. Who's heard you want to be at 30% on your credit cards? Raise your hands out there. Who has heard that? You've heard it from maybe parents. Did your parents say I know your banker told you that. I was playing Easter Bunny way too much this weekend at that thing. I'm like turning into a freaking Mr. Rogers, talking like we're, all right, boys and girls. Which one of you thought that we should be at 30%? You're wrong.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. When it comes to balance to limit ratio, utilization on a credit card, there's a zone, there's a region that'll add the most points to your score every month. And these people who are telling you about this 30% stuff, that's what they're trying to talk about. And here's the deal. You're hearing this literally from bankers and teachers and car dealers and people at the credit union. Susie,
in Minnesota, it happens all the time. It's Minnesota nice. I said this earlier today.
It's Minnesota nice is passive aggressive.
I would rather have you tell me you have no idea where someone stops you on the street, says, how do I get to the nearest gas station? Just tell them you don't know.
Don't tell them it's 3 blocks ahead.
Don't tell them see that sign over there says rib tip. Don't go that way. It's nonsense. And first of all, it's math. It's not like, it's not like what's the best adjective to describe your grandmother. It's math.
Geriatric.
There's a mathematical answer to it, and it's not 30%.
No, it's not. There's a perfect zone, a perfect region in the FICO algorithm that'll add the most points to your score every month. It's 1 to 3%. 1 to 3%. Put this in proportion. You get a $300 limit credit card. That means a monthly spend, a monthly average daily balance, and a monthly payment of between $3 and $9. No more and no less. Any more, you broke it. Any less, you broke it. More than 3%, and you're outside the zone that the 2 FICO certified credit coaches told you was probably a good place to be. Any less than 1%, that's not considered activity, and you need activity to generate score. So what happens if you listen to them, you went to 30%? Now you pay it back down. Now, if you pay it down to 0, as the question asked, now you've gone the other direction. You're under the 1%, so you're not getting it. So what you want to do if you've gone way over the 1 to 3 is pay it back down, get back into that 1 to 3 zone. If you got a $300 credit card, you've spent $90, that's 3%. Pay it down to $9. Bada bing, bada bang. You're in good shape.
Math.
Right. And then you can turn around and
same answer every time.
Absolutely. You can utilize it. So in that one, honestly, there were a couple myths. So I'm going to throw some busts out in there. But the question Jasmine said is, when you get it back paid down, will you get your points back, Jasmine? Yes. Once it's paid down, once you're back on track, you will get points.
That's a good question.
Awesome question. Dan says, I heard there's a dating site called 740plus.com. They weed people out by credit score. There actually are credit score dating
Swipe left, swipe left.
sites. Swipe left means you don't want them.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about what I just said.
Liar.
Aren't you always supposed to swipe right?
Unless they don't have a 740 credit score, you're swiping left.
Uh-oh, Tisha, T-Mobile will cut you off. Well, I, too, am a T-Mobile victim. Mark says Express Audit. Good. He put the link for that. Chaz says Rick knows what's up. Great. Okay. Thanks. Looking good, fellas. Thank you. Feeling good. Mark says if I investigate my 30-day lates and they deleted the account, what can I do? That's a great question. Not much. Really? Not much.
Yeah, it is, and I don't want to disparage other companies out there who are in our space. I see it happen a lot, though, because they just simply aren't effectively asking the right questions. Jeremy said the most important thing you're going to hear in this video at the very top, which is it's more important.
Suppository.
No, that was good, though. Those could be important.
Yeah, it could be.
When he said that what's in that letter is more important than how that letter is written, that is absolutely why something like that happens, Mark. Absolutely why it happens.
Here's how the best prescription I can give you for this is how to avoid it. Okay, when you're writing the letter and you're only addressing a 30-day late. Let's say you've got a great Capital One card. You've had it for 6 years. It's been perfect, but you got this one 30-day late. So you're sending an investigation letter investigating that 30-day late. What you're going to want to do is word it very specifically. I would like to know the date, or I'm confirming the account number, or whatnot on this 30-day late that you are reporting on your credit report. If it's found not to be verified, I demand you delete the late mark from the reported account. Not, I demand you delete this immediately. Everybody puts, I demand you delete this immediately. Most credit repair companies put, I demand you delete this immediately. If you say, I demand you delete this immediately, you're going to lose the whole account. If you demand the specific aspect, that 30-day late be deleted from the reported account, that means account be reported, 30-day late.
There's no undo button.
Yep. Hopefully that's helpful. So for those of you who are doing your own credit restoration and writing your own letters, you'll see the verbiage in the sample investigation letter, but I want you guys to keep that in mind. Great question. Kimberly says, what if the credit card company gave you, I love this. What if the credit card company gave you a new account number, but they're reporting a late payment from the old account number on the new account number? Do I have a good chance of getting that payment deleted, in your opinion? In my opinion, yes. I would literally ask that they match that to the account number that it's on. I mean, that is, document to me that I was 30 days late in March 2017 on account number ABCDEFG or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the thing is, if that, you didn't have that account number until October, it didn't exist. Yeah, so you do have, in my opinion, as semi-pro, I guess.
That is a great question, Kimberly.
I like that one.
Keep in mind that as we're talking about these things, there are instances of complete inaccuracies on a credit report. All right?
Yep.
You have, again, so much volume of information, and hopefully somebody with 10 fingers and 143 keys on a keyboard at one point in time keyed all this information into a computer. So
all right, so we've got J. Martin Skinner asked, hey guys, how do we tackle a late on federal student loans? I already tried the dispute process and a goodwill letter. I'm going to kind of fire back with, don't take this as sarcastic or anything. Martin, did you really do all 27 aspects? That would take you about 3.82 years. A lot of stamps and a lot of paper.
Well, and I said earlier, too, the current status of federally guaranteed student loans makes them a little bit different animal, because if you think about a for-profit company versus a non-profit collection agency, which is what most federally guaranteed student loan service providers are, they're going to have a tendency to be very, very expensive. They're going to expend the energy to verify information if they know they've got you on a federally guaranteed student loan. So the current status of a federally guaranteed student loan is super, super important. If you want to have us review it and take a look at other strategies, that's a perfect example to do.
But it's not to be snarky with my answer. There are 27 different aspects that can be verified, validated, investigated with the bureaus that correspond with 27 different what are called dispute codes, condition codes. You get to ask about one at a time. Every round takes about 45 days. So if something comes back as verified, you ask about a different aspect. Maybe the date, maybe the account number, maybe the name it's under, maybe the situation before where we had an account number change and that won't correspond with dates. So you look into it. You know the history of your account. You know when you took it out. You know these things. Or you should know, or you should be able to track them down. Use that knowledge, apply it to your investigations, and understand things don't go away typically in only one round. It takes multiple rounds of investigations.
Stick with it.
Yeah, we didn't get into trouble overnight. We ain't getting out of it overnight either.
No.
All right. Great question. Great question. Mark says, if I'm an authorized user and I make payments, will the bank take that into consideration at all? No, not really. It's not your card. All right. What else we have? Sorry, I'm late. Jen says, Darren, it's all right. Welcome. All right. Byron says, Credilife Express Audit 20-minute coaching strategy session. Does that include your 3 credit reports, or do you buy those before the audit? You buy them before the audit. You'll want to have, here's the thing, if you're getting an audit, it's because you want to look into credit restoration, either by yourself and you do a self-led, a self-driven DIY type style, or to hire somebody. Either way, you're going to need credit monitoring during it anyway. Go ahead and open it up. You're not going to have an effective credit restoration without monitoring. When is the time we pay it down to 1 to 3%? We don't pay it down to 1 to 3%. We pay. Okay, Credit Chaz, I'm going to tell you to go and watch the other Chaz Classic, Chaz Earthworm's video called The Credit Machine on CrediTV.
CrediTV.
On YouTube. Yep, YouTube.
E-D-I.
YouTube.
TV. On YouTube.
CREDITV on YouTube. It's called Credit Machine. It will give you step-by-step instructions on the optimum utilization of your credit card to maximize the points in the FICO algorithm, and dang, it makes it simple.
It does.
All right. Swipe. Hashtag swipe right from Credit Chaz. See, I told you it was supposed to be right.
Yeah, well,
See?
it depends. What are you?
I know what these newfangled kids are up to. You know that? Oh, I can't tell that secret. It's about my daughter and how she met her fiance.
No.
By swiping right, but I can't tell that to anyone.
Serendipity.
I'm not supposed to say that.
Serendipity, my friend.
Did I just say that to a group of 40,000 people?
And that guy might be related to you, so.
Jeez, I hope. Well, he's a nice kid. Weddings are not really cheap. Don't ever have children and let them get married. You can do one or the other. All right, Brittany says, maybe I don't fully understand the concept of disputing accounts, but I was under the impression if anything's wrong on your credit report and you dispute it, they must delete it off your report. Nope. How can the bureau send back a letter saying it was updated? Because they updated it with information from the person who was reporting it. That's the answers there, Brittany. Chaz piped down that too. Then Crystal says, installment accounts are part of a good credit mix, i.e. car loans. But when you pay off a loan like a car, what's the course of action to keep a good mix without taking out unnecessary loans? I would say take out a loan.
Take out a loan. It's an installment loan.
This is where something like Self-Lender comes in super handy. It's essentially a forced savings account where you pledge that you're going to save X amount of dollars over X amount of period of time, and you're going to make monthly installment payments until that savings account is fully funded. Now, they're going to report it to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion as installment payments on a X amount of loan, and that's going to round out your credit profile. It's going to build your credit score while you tuck, you know what, $1,000 away for a rainy day. Self-Lender, it's great. We've got a link to it in the group. It's in your Credit IQ document. It's in my pro tip document in the files.
There are also certified deposit accounts that have longer terms. I'm the type of person that I drive a vehicle 180,000 miles. All right, so there are a lot of times in my life where I have not had an installment loan. There are banks.
What have you been driving?
Well, I just bought a new truck. Oh. I've been following your credit advice, and I financed a really, really nice truck.
Yeah, we got to talk.
So in terms of certified deposit accounts, there are certified deposit accounts that could be 3 years in nature. So you could essentially be opening up a 3-year certified deposit account. And those are some of the solutions that we can build into a credit builder blueprint. But hey, it's 8:10. And I'm going to tell you right now, myths could go on till the end of time. So what I'd like you guys to do is any questions that we didn't get answered today, or you want to post those questions on our thread here tonight on the Facebook Free Credit Repair.
We'll do that for
the next one. Debunking Myths 3.
Perfect. So a couple reminders again. If you have not subscribed to our channel, CrediTV, CrediTV on YouTube, I encourage you to follow it. I encourage you to subscribe, watch the videos. They're educational videos. There's instruction videos. There are rebroadcasts of our lives here, all kinds of really good stuff. And if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up. We really would appreciate it. Leave us a comment. If you don't like what you see, never say anything ever again.
I had one public service thing I wanted to say just in general about CrediTV, the Credilife programs and services. Thanks for everybody that's gone to Google and put in a review for us.
Yeah, that's been huge.
It's such
Yelp,
a great thing.
too. People have been putting some on Yelp, some positive things.
We do not spend much on advertising. So word of mouth and your perception of us, what we do, whether it's professionally or free, is invaluable. There's no amount of money that I could expend or Jared could expend or Jeremy could expend that means as much as a good review. So visit us on Google. All right, Credilife, all right, and put a review out there and be honest and open about it. A lot of the reviews have been just about how educational it's based. A lot of it's been just about taking the time to answer questions. So appreciate that.
Yeah, tell people what you learned. Share what's been a positive experience for you. That's just been, that's been amazing. Again, we don't put our money into advertising. The way that Credilife, quite frankly, sponsors the ability for the free credit repair advice group to even exist. It's not the company's group, but what they do is they pay the salaries of coaches and allow them to literally go on social media and answer people's questions for free. And that's nuts. There's nobody doing something like this.
Not even close.
So, for the people who started the Credilife Financial Wellness Program, a good review is a great big thank you. I mean, it's really nice to see. Also, if you appreciate what we've been doing here, I ask that you pay some forward, give to the Haiti mission that we've got going on. We are feeding starving children, literally children who will die without the food, not to end on a negative note, but we are sending our own actual missionaries on the ground.
What Jeremy's saying that is there really is stuff we can do. What's the dollars per what you're providing them is unbelievable.
25 cents feeds a kid breakfast.
I'm going to end this with poking a little bit of fun at Jeremy. Jeremy and I went out to lunch. Taking Jeremy out to lunch is like an $11 or $15 proposition. Okay?
It was like $17 today.
When you are talking about these children in Haiti, you're talking about $1 providing them a meal, and so it's just extraordinary what we're able to do.
Yeah, we've got it with the Feed My Starving Children thing. It's literally $1 would feed four kids who are starving a breakfast, lunch, and dinner for $1.
Awesome.
It makes your dollar menu at McDonald's look like crap there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is don't go to McDonald's.
No McDonald's.
Go to Haiti.
Awesome. Thank you guys
All right,
for
thanks
listening.
a lot, guys.
We'll see you tomorrow on the free credit repair advice site. And again, visit CreditTV.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Rick Wenner, Jeremy Dysog, Credilife.
We'll end on this.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.